Design with Joe, and today we are going to be making super cute snowman treat holders, but the treats are round ones. They are the Lindt, or you sometimes hear people say Lindor, chocolate balls, or it will also work with Ferrero Rocher. And I do have samples. I have 4 ideas to share with you at the end, so make sure you stick around so you can see those. So I'm going to make sure I'm in the right place before I go any further. It looks like I want to make sure you can hear me. So if you can hear me, oh, I don't know that you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me, because it seems like maybe my sound is not there. So I'm gonna try that again. Can you hear me? We can hear you, good. Okay, well, I can't hear myself. So thanks very much, Judy, perfect. Okay, so I hope that you're getting yourself ready for Christmas. It is only a couple weeks out. Today is December 10th. 2025. So that gives us a week over 2 days before, a week over 2 weeks, 2 weeks plus a day. Is that right? Yes, that's right. Whew, it's been a morning already. So as you come on, please let me know where you're watching from, and also let me know, let's do a question. How about, have you sent your Christmas cards out already? And maybe that's a yes, maybe that's a no. For me, it is a no. They are sitting there waiting, ready for pen and addressing, but they have not yet been done. So mine might be Christmas cards, mine might be New Year's cards. I'm not so sure. So let me know, because we are all in the same boat as crafters, as paper crafters. Sometimes we're not the thing we do the most, sometimes it's the last thing that we get around to. So, okay, today we're doing treat holders. So let me get to that. I'm going to point you down right away. Just before I go, right now, December 10th to 12th is free shipping with Stampin' Up! So you can save that on, maybe you need to restock after doing your holiday cards. So I just want to mention that before we get started. So here we go. And remember, the project reveal is always at the end for this. Okay, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do that. Okay, whoops, I'm going to do that. Okay, let's see if I can get this the right way. So hold on just a minute until I get our camera all set up. I always have to stand here. Let's see. Pointing at the ceiling, you get a nice view of my ceiling. How's that? Can everybody see that? And is it fairly straight? Just let me know. Okay, glad that, oh, Judy, you got yours done just this morning. That's perfect. Okay, so what do we need? We need scraps. We don't even need stamps for this. We need some scraps. You need a fairly good sized piece of white, and I'm using thick white, and then scraps of designer paper, scraps of your cardstock. So whatever you have, those little bits, this is where you're going to use them. And I'm going to show you making these with punches, but you can also make them with dies, and I have some samples with that. So I have 3 different punches here, and when you have the opportunity to buy circle punches, I would recommend that you do it. Circle punches, you can get so much work. They are really workhorses. So you want to pick those up when you can, because they're not always current. These are not current ones with Stampin' Up! Right now. Okay, so we're going to use the smallest one first. And what we're going to need is 2 large and 2 medium. So 2 large, 2 medium. But we are going to make a tummy on our snowman. So I'm going to put this in here. Give yourself enough room on the top, and I put it in as far as I can go. And punch. And do that again. And punch. And now we're going to go in with our 2.5, and I'm hoping that that will work. There we go. So now this is the easiest way that I know to get your circle right in the middle. So then punch that out, and then punch that one out too. Okay, so we've got 2 parts there, and then we also need 2 medium ones. So I'm going to, whoops. Now, on the sample I'm going to show you at the end, I have a bigger head. So use what you have, and but I wouldn't go much smaller than 2.5 inches on the body where we're going to put our little treat. And we're going to be working, I'm going to use a Lindt chocolate today. And what we're going to do is we are going to nestle that in between those 2. So you're going to need some really strong tape. I'm going to use tear and tape. And I'm just going to rip some of that off. And I'm just going to place that down here right now. And you can go sort of all the way around if you want. We're going to be really interested in 2 of them to start with. And then we'll get into the other area in just a bit. So you can lift that up if you want on one side. And opposite side. Okay, so one to the other. And then what we're going to do is we are going to get those guys out of the way. We're going to fit this little guy in here. And what I like to do is try and get the part that is actually where not the join is, because there's a join here, but not where the join is. But before I do that, I'm going to flatten out the little bits and I'm going to cut them off. Okay, so I'm going to cut them off, and depending on the size of your circle, so mine is the 2.5. If it's 3, you don't have to cut off quite as much. But I'm going to start with that, and I may need to cut off just a little bit more. In fact, I am going to cut off just a little bit more. And I'm going to lay that in so I can see this from the outside. And you're going to stick it right down on top of that tear and tape and push it through a little bit so that when you get it there, it is stuck really well. Now I've got a little bit more there I just need to trim off, so I'm going to do that. And this side is okay. Okay, so that is sitting down there. Now I'm going to take another piece and I'm going to put that right over top. And I need another little bit off the roll for the other one. And you can put that right over top too. Okay. So now, of course, they're going to have to really wreck the snowman to get this out, but that's okay. The charm is already there. They'll have oohed and awed over your creativity. Yes, Marilyn is agreeing about the punches. Get whatever circle punches you can, and when they're retired, they're not retired for use for you. They will come in handy. So I'm trying not to touch that glue very much. Thanks for watching from Spruce Grove, Maryland. I appreciate that. And then I'm going to take some liquid glue as well. Okay, so we are going to take some liquid glue. I'm not necessarily going to go over where I have tape. You could if you want, but that tape is pretty strong. Just give it some glue, and then we're going to sandwich it. Okay, and you are going to sandwich right over top. Now I did try this without doing a hole in the middle, and I didn't find that that worked really well. They were just too big. You need too big of a circle for that to work. Now, if you have your circle right in the middle, which I obviously didn't, then you're not going to be able to see anything. Can you see that one under there? That's okay. It doesn't bother me that much. So then if you want, grab some alligator clips and just hold them together. Okay, so we're going to let that sit for just a little bit, and let's work on the face. So you need 2 for the face, and then you're also going to need your little pieces of black, some designer paper, because we're going to give our snowman a scarf. So I'm going to cut and make my hat. So my hat is just going to be, you can cut with your trimmer if you want. I'm also going to take just a thin strip. I don't know, that's about a 1/4 inch. These really were just scraps out of my drawer, because hey, we all have scraps, don't we? And this is a perfect way to use them. And make yourself a hat. So glue that right on top. Give that a moment to set up. Now I'm going to use my blends. And I've also got a little marker here. So I'm going to just, with my black, I'm going to dot on a face. You don't need to do the back. You just need to do the front. So I'm going to give 2 little circles for the eyes. And then I'm going to give some dots. And you don't have to make circles even for the mouth. For this is a 005, so a really fine marker. So if you have a really fine pen or a really fine marker, because we're going to give him some eyebrows. So he looks a little bit, oh, what just happened? We're also going to give some cheeks. So above this first dot here, I'm using the light of the bubble bath. I have my Stampin' Blend, and then I'm using just a white color lifter. And I always like to sort of blend out the edges of that pink. It just makes it a little bit softer on the cheeks. Now, obviously, there's something definitely missing on this snowman. So what we need to do is make a nose. So I have a piece of, this is again out of my scrap drawer. This is where I made another nose, I'll show you. And you can make your nose as long or as short as you want. And then you can place it also, oh, that one doesn't want to stay. You can place it wherever you want. So I'm going to place mine going off that way. And if it's easier, where's my, use your take your pick tool to lift these up. Okay, and it's going to go off to the side. Yeah, get them sort of positioned a little bit better. Now, I've got some samples to show you where I've actually drawn on here, but if you want to take this really fine marker as well, I'm going to hold on to it here and just put some little carrot, you know how carrots have like the little lines? You can do that too if you want, but you don't have to. He almost looks like he's got a bit of an affliction there. Okay, so now let's finish the hat, and the hat's going to go on something like that, or I usually like to put off to the side, and I don't know why. Okay, now this is a little bit of a thing, but I saw that one side was a little longer than the other, so we got to change it. And we're going to decorate that hat in a minute too. Okay, so how's this? Is this staying together? Let's just finish that. So we will finish the hat. Now what I did for the hat and decorating them, you can use embellishments, you can use rhinestones, but I also just cut out a bunch of little tiny hearts and stars. And I would encourage you to go looking through your dies, because I found these in dies where I didn't think they would be. Hold on and I'll show you. I have them right here, I think. This one right here, Thoughtful Moments, has these little hearts and has these little stars. Also punches, so you might have punches. You may have this owl builder punch from way long ago, and it's got a heart on there. Take a look, especially on the builder punches, because they have some really cool things. There's other sets, Christmas Friends. So this one had, where did it have? It had stars up here. This one here had hearts. So it's amazing what you can find once you start looking. So now that that's dried, we are going to glue this down. And I always put my glue on the head. And the reason why is I don't want to put it down and have glue on my surface. If I put it on this part of the hat, I don't really need it on that part of the hat, because I just need it where the top of the head is. Okay, so let's do a little bit of decorating. Well, you know what? Let's do the body and everything first. I can always come back and do this after as well. So let's finish off the snowman. Let's put, so I want it so that I can, that one turned out really well. So I want it so I can read that. So let's put this here. That over there. And I found just 2 pieces, just the bottom and the top, rather than 3 like we make our snowman out in the snow. Piece that together. Let's make a scarf. Now I might need to cut, that's a little bit wide. So let's take this. And yes, I am actually going to cut with my scissors rather than my trimmer. I know that hurts some of you, okay? And that's going to go across like that. We're going to give it a nice little end here. And we're going to give another one a nice little end. And actually, I'm going to trim that one a little bit too. And we're going to give it a nice little end. And then you got pieces everywhere. And we're going to glue this on the back here. Watch where my glue is. And that's going to come off to the side. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry for just a moment. And let's give some lots of glue there, because it's got to go over a couple little bumps. Put that right over top. Now this is definitely, I think this is definitely a boy snowman. Okay, so there's that. Now let's just put, I think maybe a blue heart and maybe a star or something up here. I can get my glue to come out, that is. And this is where your take your pick tool really comes in handy. So maybe let's take the bigger heart here. So I'll tell you too how I created these hearts in these colors. And so, I don't know, let's give them a star too. It's a funny looking star. So what I did to create those, I took a piece of my white glimmer paper from a few years ago, and I used the bullet tip. Don't use the brush tip, use the bullet tip, and I colored on, and then I cut out the dies afterwards, or punched them out. And how about if we put one onto the scarf? And let's put a red heart for that one. Okay. Sorry, my head's probably right in the camera. Okay, and so there's that. Now we have one more thing we have to do. What we're going to do is we're going to take another piece of tear and tape, put it across the face, and I could have done this before. In fact, I probably should have done it before I started, because now I've got that other stuff on there. Take that off. If it's a little bit long like mine is, I'm going to fold it back on itself so it doesn't extend beyond the edge of the snowman, just like that. And we need a piece of baker's twine. I have some of the red and white baker's twine right here. And you're just going to loop that and place it right over that glue. And don't have it sort of one on top of the other. Have it so that it is one, so both pieces are in contact, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And then we are going to put glue everywhere, because you're going to take that other circle and you're just going to finish it off. And I just find that that is a nicer backing for the snowman. Okay, so that's your snowman. So this guy here is blue. He's so cute. Okay, he's a little smaller, but let's show the rest of them that I made, and we'll have a whole family here. So here's the first one I made. Same size body, but I used a bigger head. This is 1 3/4 inches and just some embellishments. His nose is really long, headed down, and that little bow tie is off of, which one was it? It's off of this one, Christmas Friends. So these are the Christmas Friends. Little bow tie was super cute. So he's there. Something falling, hold on. Next one, also with the Lindt. So this guy here, I used the, which one was this? Spotlight of Nature, the dies, and I found that they worked okay. I would more recommend the next one I'm going to show you, but that little hat and everything is out of the Sending Cheer. So these are retired sets that you may very well have in your stash. This little guy, Ferrero Rocher, I told you that's something you can do. So here it is punched out, but it is adhered with some mini glue dots. Okay, put some Google eyes on there, change up your mouth, and he's super adorable. Change the hat too. So there I used the modern oval for the top of the hat. And then if you don't have any of these chocolates hanging around, what about just a Hershey's Kiss? So this little gal, so we made it a she by giving her some eyelashes and using pink, and just put down a little Hershey's Kiss. And these ones here are made with the stylish shapes, and I really like those for making these guys. So there you go. There's our whole family. We got a couple kids. We got mom and dad. We have grandpa maybe. I hope you have fun making these. These are great to tuck into a stocking, to use as a table favor, sitting on the plate, to hang from the tree, because they are fun, they're cute, and you can add so much personality just by changing up the faces. On this one here, those are just embellishments. So give them a go. I hope you make up a whole family of extended cousins and kids and everything, and friends for your friends and family this holiday. We'll see you again. Bye-bye.